Okay, we now welcome on a very special guest. This is obviously the Barstool Gold portion of Part of My Take, where we are basically trying to learn new things. We had a marine biologist last month. We had a therapist the month before that. This month, we have someone we're very excited about. It is Timm Woods. He is a professional game master. So we want to learn about Dungeons and Dragons and gaming of this sort in general, and we figured this would be perfect because you know it back and forth. So we're gonna probably play a game, but let's start with some basics. Just the very first basic. How do you become a professional game master?
Well, I will say this, that there are many, many game masters out there. Me becoming a professional and doing this as my full-time job is definitely the exception rather than the rule.
So this is your full-time job?
This is my full-time job.
That's
now, I'm
pretty
happy
cool.
to say.
That's
I'm
awesome.
very lucky and very fortunate to have that. A lot of the work I do is with younger kids, so I run after-school programs, but about 50% of my games are with adults, or kind of a mix. It'll be like families, like a mom and dad playing with their kids or something like that.
Okay.
And my specialty is bringing the game of D&D to new players. That's what I do.
Perfect.
So
That's
people
us.
who are
100%.
new to the game, interested but and excited, but no familiarity necessarily with the game. That's kind of my clientele right there.
Yeah, so you did kind of hit the jackpot. I mean, like growing up, if you could be told, like, if you were to speak to yourself when you were 11, 12 years old, however young you were when you first picked up the game, like, this is going to be your job. How excited would you have been?
I would have probably had a meltdown that would have killed me if you had told me that information at that point. I could not have physically handled that information at that point. I would have been too overwhelmed. But I'll say this, that like going into education and learning how to first be a teacher was kind of what opened my eyes to the idea that teaching and dungeon mastering are very, very similar, and that's kind of what led me to think, this is its own kind of teaching, and it's certainly a performance art, and it's certainly that people can and should, in theory, get paid for, but really I wasn't seeing a lot of that. And for me, it was working at a comic book shop and working at Forbidden Planet for about a year on Union Square, and literally once a day, every day, someone would come in and say, "Oh, D&D? I've heard so much about that. I know I'd love it, but I don't have any friends who can teach it to me, so I guess I'll never learn. Anyway, bye." And that conversation would just happen again and again until I got so frustrated, and I was like, there is obviously a huge number of people who want this game in their lives who, whether it's true or not, feel like they don't have access to it. So what happens to those people? They generally don't learn the game, and then they play video games and they do lots of other things. But D&D, yeah.
So do you realize you're like a walking stereotype, the comic book thing?
Yes.
Okay.
And the funny thing was, I went into that job as a retail, in working with comic books to figure out how could I get into the gaming world.
That's cool, man.
And it was completely incidental that was how I found this demand, but I didn't know it was going to lead to that.
How long have you been playing Dungeons and Dragons?
I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since I was about 11 years old, and I'm 32 now.
That's
so we're going on 2 decades of me DMing now at this point.
This is kind of cool because you're basically like every kid who grows up like, oh, I want to be a professional basketball player, baseball player, and then you realize, hey, I just don't have the athleticism.
Absolutely.
You grew up being like, I want to be a professional, Dungeons and Dragons master, and then boom, you did it. You're literally living the dream.
I like to think so, and I like to think that what I discovered was it wasn't really necessarily that I had this talent that other people didn't have. I was just recognizing that there were so many people, there was a demand, and many people were being left out of this hobby. And I personally, when I was growing up, played with my family. I had some friends, but I was too shy to really work up the energy to go, hey, everyone, jump in this game with me. We're all going to have fun. Just trust me. And so I felt like I was outside the hobby, ironically, for a long time. And that sense of alienation, I think, is what drove me to be like, no one should feel like they don't have access to this game. I want to bring it to everyone. I'm the evangelist of D&D, as opposed to the number one best guy in all of D. I am not the best game master. There are many great game masters out there.
Who's the goat?
Who's the guy?
Greatest of all time?
Right now, people are going to tell you Matt Mercer's one of the best out there. He's the best in the business. Other people will tell you Chris Perkins, celebrity DM to the stars is what he's called. He's one of the best.
But he's
out
like, it sounds like he's in it for the glory. Like he's he's a cleat chaser of the Dungeons and Dragons world.
He's actually working with the companies that makes the game, so they send him. He's like working for the NFL, but like he's working for the company, and then he goes and kind of does a lot of their marketing, let's say. But he is
he carries their water. I get it.
He's a really well-accomplished DM, but people will argue with you about who the real GOAT is.
Okay.
I can tell just from talking to you right now, you're very passionate about it.
I am
so like
extremely
you being an evangelist,
about
I
this.
think you're a good spokesperson for the game. Like you're selling yourself a little bit short, saying you just happen to be in the right place at the right time. You market yourself right. We'll see how this plays out, but I just get a feeling from you like you like to teach people. You clearly enjoy the game, and so I'm excited to learn from you.
I like to think that I take a game that is very often viewed as intimidating and make it very welcoming to people. And people who love this game aren't necessarily the best at making it feel welcoming. It's so complex that it can in fact feel overwhelming when you talk to a big hardcore fan of it. Right. And when you hear the stories, they don't always make sense. It's like, how does this story take place in this game? Whereas I'm all about, let's take 10 steps back and start from scratch, and we're going to learn the game as we play and just move through things in the simplest way.
Are you at a place where you can laugh at the haters?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, because I would imagine if Dungeons and Dragons has been your hobby your whole life, I'm just going to take a guess that like you might have been bullied for it a little. But now you're at a point you're like, hey, look, you're working an accounting job. I'm
laughing all the way
dream.
to the bank at that
that's
point.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, the way I see it is I could not do the job I have if I was still embarrassed about playing D&D. Sure. Those two things couldn't coexist for me. And when I was in college, I was starting to realize that by hiding this part of myself was actually, that's what creates the sense of, oh, this is something you can be made fun of for. It's when you hide something that all of a sudden people are like, oh, wait, you're embarrassed about this. And I used to have conversations with my friend on the phone where I'd be like, I can say yes or no, but I'm not around people where I can talk about dragons right now. And he'd ask me questions, yes or no questions. And then one time I was like, yes, no, yes, no. You'd have to check the magic item compendium. And all my friends turned and went, nerd, busted.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But I realized they didn't think it was embarrassing. They wanted to know more about it. I was the one making it and that was a big revelation because I was like, there's nothing essentially nerdy about this. It's fun, but if you don't know the language, then it sounds silly to you. So it's
also
natural.
I think Dungeons and Dragons has always been like almost people just say like nerd, oh, you play Dungeons and Dragons. So it's got that stereotype which we're going to bust right through today.
It's the thing that even nerds won't do. I had many nerdy friends who drew the line at D&D. And I'm like, you dress up in anime costumes and stuff, but you won't touch D&D. And then the nerds get into fights with each other over this stuff, like who's nerdier than who. I'm like, embrace it. If you are I'm truly passionate about this one little niche of gaming that I think should be much bigger, which is tabletop role-playing games, D&D and all the other games like it. And I know that I'm weirdly specialized, and that will make me alienating to some people, but to other people who want to know about this game, I'm like hopefully bringing it in a positive, fun way.
No, I love it. I love it. So recently we've definitely seen an uptick in, I guess you could say, national interest in fantasy.
Totally.
Starting, I guess, back in the first time I can really remember breaking through the mainstream was back when Lord of the Rings
bingo, 100%.
started coming out, and more recently Game of Thrones. Hank's a big Game of Thrones fan. We haven't gotten around to watching it yet, but do you feel like a little bit of, is there a small amount of you that's like, hey, I've been into dragons for 30 years, and you're just like Johnny come lately on the block thinking that you know about dragons and you don't?
I am like totally anti-gatekeeping when it comes to like who's been, talking about dragons longer. I definitely feel like there's a part of me for sure that when the Lord of the Rings movies came out, I was like, oh, this is big. Why is everyone besides me also talking about this? My sisters were talking about it. All my friends who weren't into fantasy were talking about it, and I would actually get called up in my high school chemistry class to explain parts of the movies to people. And I'm like, well, you have to understand, in the background, Sauron's actually doing this. And I taught a whole class on it once. But when Game of Thrones came out, I had read all the books in high school. I had been really, if you had told me that everyone was going to be this excited about an imaginary dragon that I had been excited about back in high school, I would have been ecstatic. And so I can't get too upset about people jumping on the bandwagon later. Number one, it's only led to more business for me. Like you're saying, I think this has Lord of the Rings and then Game of Thrones is the trail of how did fantasy enter the mainstream so strongly. And so it's led to a lot of business for me. And the fact is, I think back to me being, feeling excited excluded, feeling, apart because of these hobbies that I was interested in. All I wanted was more people into this. If I'm going to be bitter about it now, that's silly. I want to embrace the fact. The way I see it is D&D is going to become so big if I do my job right that it will become something I don't recognize and may not even like anymore. But that's part of the process.
Right.
Things grow and they change, and as more and more people start liking dragons, that'll change things, but it's a good thing.
I wish we could take your brain and put it into like every soccer fan and UFC and like everyone who basically has the please like my sport complex, because your approach to it is exactly the correct approach. Like, yeah, there's bandwagon, but the more people that are involved, the bigger it will get and people will enjoy it.
Absolutely. Something that's happening in the hobby now is more and more people can watch people online or listen to podcasts where people play D&D, but now D&D players are like, this is leading to people playing more like these podcasters and less like we used to. Is this a good or a bad thing, everybody? And the answer is it's good and bad. It can be both, but it doesn't matter because it's happening one way or another. This is what it looks like when something grows. So if you want it to not be what it is, work within that. Don't try to fight it and say this half of the hobby isn't really doing it. You separate yourselves from the true hobby now. We demand it. It's like, no, we're all playing D&D. So
have you ever thought about marketing it as a fantasy sport?
So it's really funny. On my way over here, I was trying to think of like overlaps and stuff, and ultimately fantasy football and all these fantasy leagues are the closest thing, I think, within the world of physical sports to something like D&D, and they are so similar. So going to people and trying, if I knew more about fantasy sports, the answer would be yes, I would market it more as a fantasy sport. But I think it's my own lack of knowledge as to how those leagues work and what makes people excited about them that makes me reticent to jump onto that market.
I think at the end of the day, they're very similar in that people like to have an interest, something that they consider themselves experts on, that they do as a diversion or an activity that they get to follow along with, have something invested. They win, they lose, they kind of enjoy. Maybe they learn something like through the process. It's pretty much the exact same thing.
It really is.
It's just like we watch the NFL every Sunday where guys hit each other, and in Dungeons and Dragons, it's it's more it's something that's more abstract that someone leads you through.
It's a personal experience, and I would say it's actually an incredibly perfect analogy to watching sports and then playing in a fantasy league versus, say, watching or reading Lord of the Rings and then playing D&D. It's you taking, so I think we humans do this naturally, where if you like a sport enough, you're watching it, hopefully you get to play it too, but if you're definitely watching it, and then you naturally start simulating. You start going, okay, well, why is this team sucky right now? Why is this team good right now? You start speculating. It starts as a conversation. Then you start simulating as the next step, where you go, okay, what if you put the 88 ABCs versus the 92 XYZs, and you start creating these fantasy scenarios. Humans do this naturally.
You just described First Take.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's it. We've been doing this around sports for so long because it's such a natural thing for us to do. And then the final, I wouldn't say final stage, but the next stage after that is sitting down and creating these personal constructed leagues that are hard to explain to anybody. You're saying, in my league, I've got this whole imaginary team and this is all happening. We're going up against each other in this whole imaginary hypothetical situation that is nonetheless rooted in the facts of how many points did this person get in the last game. You're drawing in real world information into this fantasy construct, and then you create these amazing experiences that are hard to sometimes explain to people outside the league, but within the league are incredibly powerful. And that's a description of what is great about a D&D group. You have these incredibly personal stories that are special because everyone who is there got to see that film.
And then everyone outside doesn't give a fuck, which is the exact same as fantasy football.
Absolutely,
yes,
absolutely. And why it's so hard to then go to somebody and say, here's why D&D is great, because my friend was fighting an orc and then he rolled this and he ended up peeing on the orc, and you're like, what the fuck is this game? But it meant so much to the people at the table.
That is exactly fantasy football. Yeah, that's a good analogy.
And then hopefully you meet people who have their own league who will at least get, okay, this felt amazing to you, and now I'm going to tell you my story from my league, and hopefully it translates.
Do you watch sports? Any sports?
I really don't.
Okay, no sports.
Are there like dynasty leagues, or how does that work? Once you're in a group of people playing D&D, is it the same group and they get together for an extended period of time, like a scheduled game, or do you get to keep your characters?
So if I'm understanding correctly, a dynasty league would be when you like restart the league with all fresh, but with the same players. Is that right?
Essentially, yeah.
So you get to keep some players.
So a league in this analogy would be a campaign where you every week or every 2 weeks show up at somebody's house with the same characters, continuing the same story, and it'd be like, okay, last time on the show this happened, and so we're picking up with that cliffhanger, and you might play that for years. A good campaign will go at least a year, probably,
Holy shit.
and very often longer. My longest-running professional campaign now is going on its 3rd year at this point,
Holy
and they're hitting
shit.
like 14th level. It's very exciting. We're really deep in the story. That's a group where I get nervous because we've been doing this so long. I ask them for the most feedback. But in theory, if they were to finish up their campaign at 20th level, which is when D&D, like, that's the most epic thing, you become a god or whatever, we wrap up the story in some epilogue. But if they then wanted to say, okay, we want to do another campaign now, they would start at level 1 all over again with new characters, probably. Like, you would have a new team, let's say. A new draft, as it were. Character creation would be the draft in this analogy. But you would create all the new characters and start a whole new story. Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck, that's crazy. So it's like cricket. It just goes. The games go for days.
Absolutely.
Now,
It goes on so
right.
long.
Is there a winner and a loser? Like, does somebody finish in last place?
So I have a story about that. There is no winner or loser because, in theory, someone could get knocked out, and that's bad for them. Someone could, like, do the spell that wins the day for everybody, and, everyone's like, you were the MVP today. Absolutely. So there are people who can do better or worse, but there's really because the campaigns go on for years, it might be like, okay, defeating this dragon was our end goal, but there's not really an end. The story just goes on and on. But back when I used to play as a kid with my friend Tom, he would play every day, and every day would go home with his brother, and his mom would ask, who won? And they would say, nobody won.
Yeah.
That's not how it works, Mom. Until the day Tom's character died, and Tom's brother got to say, well, I don't know who won, but Tom lost
Right.
today.
Isn't that kind of a dickhead move, though, on the DM's part to just, like, kill somebody?
So in that particular example, first of all, you're talking to anybody, any D&D player, you're going to get different answers to that. Some people say never kill the players. The story's about them.
Right,
Just
they can't play anymore if they're
fudge
dead.
the dice rolls. Absolutely. Other players will tell me, no, I want death to be a threat. Otherwise, the game means nothing.
Yes.
And if you die, then you come back with a new character. But it's like, oh no, that person I cared so much about is fucking gone. They are gone. There is resurrection magic, so generally at high levels, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You always have a recourse to, like, tell me to go fuck myself, and, like, you actually can bring your character back or something. But people debate about whether to kill a character or not, and ultimately it's up to the DM. In that particular example, he had told me that he was going to go talk to the frost giants, and I asked if he needed, like, to do anything before he left. Was he going to go get any help? Was he sure that this was how he's going to approach things? And he told me yes, and then he rode up to a frost giant. The frost giant critical hit him, chopped his arm off, and his character died.
You gave him every opportunity.
I gave him maybe not every opportunity, but definitely a lot of opportunities. Right. We then had a discussion about exactly how many opportunities I gave him, but it led to a story that day where I said, well, you're dead. Obviously, I didn't plan for this. What's going to happen now? He had his cohort, his little minion, carry his body to a temple where they would resurrect him, but because he had pissed off every temple in the land, it became this epic quest to find the one evil temple who is willing to work
now,
with
wait,
him.
hold on.
We had to improv that whole story.
Where's this all happening? On a board?
This will be happening on a... there can be a board, especially
like,
if there's...
Is he physically carrying the guy or no?
Okay. He's describing what his character is doing, and I'm basically saying, okay, your character's lying dead right now. What do you do? And there was a good 15 minutes of us trying to figure out what are our options at this point, considering I'm not just going to say, we'll take it back, you're back in town.
Right.
I wanted us to challenge each other and figure out how can we move forward from here. And he did have quite a few, like, minions at his disposal, and we kind of improv this whole storyline of going to Resurrection.
Do you ever LARP?
I don't LARP, and I have several friends who are currently working on helping me get into that because it's something I've always been fascinated with.
I love LARPing. I LARPed once about 15 years ago.
Awesome.
It was pretty sick.
That's rad.
It was sick. All right, so my other question was, how short can a game be? Like attention spans, not our strong suit.
I mean, I'll say this. Generally, I run 3-hour games. That's the average.
Oh, fuck. Wow.
Generally,
it's like baseball.
Yeah, once you go under 2 hours, you can start a game, but you can't really get to a cool wrap-up conclusion in an hour or two, unfortunately. I mean, you can get a good idea of like what the game's about and stuff, but it's not quite the feel of a real good session.
Well, we could always do like a cliffhanger.
That's true.
And have to bring
have
back
come
at
back.
some point.
Yeah.
Is there a sexual element to D&D?
There can be, and it's only up to if you can. So the answer to that is you can do whatever you want in D&D if your game master is willing to work with you on that. I generally do not do any sexual content in my D&D games, and I had one instance of a player who in one of my pickup games, this was a random individual, just kind of came in and said, I'm playing a lust-themed warlock. I did not pick up that he was being creepy about it, but other people at the table definitely felt like that was inappropriate and that he was doing some weirdo stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, there are there's a line where I probably won't entertain it, but at the same time, if people are willing to be like classy about it and just keep it part of the story. I definitely in one of my younger games had a friend who played a bard whose name was the Ladies Man, and that was his official name for his bard. And we
What's
all
a
had
bard?
So a bard is like a storyteller, a singer.
Got it,
so
yeah.
they are in the group kind of to like give inspiration and encouragement to everybody and do a little bit of magic. In that edition in particular, the joke was bards were not very good, and I was afraid my friend was not going to have a good time playing a bard, but he was a musician in real life, and he asked when we met this quest giver, who was a noble woman who had this quest for us, he said, well, can I ask her out? And I said, don't be weird, man. Don't ask her out. Don't make it weird.
Right.
I'm role-playing this person. Don't do it.
Right.
And he said, no, dude, I don't want to make it weird. I'm just thinking I can schmooze her for more information. And also, if this goes somewhere, like, I'm genuinely trying to be sincere. And, like, the way he posed it, I was like, all right, roll a persuasion check. He critical hits, gets the highest roll you can get in the game. And I said, she goes out to dinner with you. They just started dating, and he kept it 100% classy. But then it was like
in the game or outside?
In the game. I described their date
for a second. Yeah.
And then that was like it. We faded to black and everything. Like he kept it completely classy, and it was this running kind of funny joke, but at the same time, it was almost like a character development thing. Like Han Solo is wooing the Princess Leia character, and she became more and more interested in our group, and they had this extra layer of investment. Now, that completely didn't depend on me. It depended on the player and how they were going to handle that.
Right.
I knew my friend was not going to be creepy about that, whereas, in a pickup game, I don't know, and especially when I'm providing a professional experience, I have to be much, much more careful, especially when you could account for the fact that half of my games are kids groups. Obviously, there are lines I have to draw in kids groups about what is appropriate content and what's not.
Okay, should we try to get into one? Let's see if we can.
I feel like we should, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't even know where to start. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to help us with that.
Absolutely.
Like, just the basic where to start.
I would start by throwing out there, because the way I would do this right now is we would do this without any character sheets, without any real worrying about the data that you're going to have to like look at and be distracted by. We'll just do this totally verbal. And I want to give you a choice, first of all. First of all, I run D&D, the fantasy game that everyone kind of knows and loves, but there's another game, Call of Cthulhu. And Call of Cthulhu I just ran yesterday, actually. It's a horror-themed game where you play characters in the 1920s who are ordinary people. In theory, you are going to be doing a ghost story, and so a ghost story is we're going in as ordinary people who would inherently be in over our head. We'll be up against challenges that we are not prepared for, whereas in D&D, you're going to fight monsters that if you do everything right, you're going to like win and have a good time and be the heroes. I'd ask the group, would you be more interested in horror or fantasy as the theme for the game?
I think we should do the D&D.
D&D, absolutely.
I
love it. I love it.
Should there be a soundtrack that we're playing for this? Does it matter to have is there mood music for D&D?
There can be mood music. Several of my groups do mood music, kind of like Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Sometimes Game of Thrones. Ambient fantasy is usually what gets Googled at the games.
Okay.
Other question: is there any sort of like performance enhancing drug problem in D&D? Like, do people show up taking microdosing on like mushrooms, or do people show up drunk sometimes?
Yes, absolutely. I will say that probably less than people coming in like like with drugs, with the idea that it's going to help them play, very often people will show up. I've heard unfortunate experience at conventions where people will show up at a table and just be like, I'm playing in this game, and it's like, uh-oh.
That's got to be annoying as hell, right? Having a drunk guy in your D&D table.
100%.
Yes.
If people don't have social awareness in a D&D table, that can be a real problem. I do remember one particular instance where someone brought pop brownies with them to a game. This was when I was working at a cafe where people would come in and do D&D games, and apparently what happened was the guy who ate a brownie not realizing it was like, uh-oh, couldn't handle it, passed a note over to the DM that just said, I am too high to keep playing. And the DM was like, what do you want me to do with this? I'm not in charge of the real world. I'm in charge of this fantasy world, so I can't really help you here. But it was an hilarious incident.
That guy was like, he was so past the point of being high that he thought
D&D
was real.
absolutely. He thought that DM was going to like roll a die and get him out of that situation.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's do it.
So, in theory, the kind of default adventure that I always start people off with.
Wait, so there's no board? It's just a bunch of.
I mean, we can do
dice?
this with a board.
Whatever you think.
But we
Also,
can do this
here?
without any of the stuff that I would normally need. The only thing that you really need is a dice. A D20 is the only thing that you need.
So I was just handed a D20, so there's 20 numbers on it.
We also brought all these costumes here. I want to make sure that we put them on as appropriate. Should we get dressed up now? Or?
You absolutely could if you want, totally.
Okay.
I do run birthday parties where people like wear costumes and stuff.
All right, PFT will get dressed up, and I'll keep talking. Then I'll get dressed up, and he can keep talking. Do you don't take this the wrong way? Do you own a cat?
I don't own a cat. No, I don't own any pet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Would you say most people in the D&D own cats or dogs?
Honestly, there's obviously like a lot of nerdy things going on with D&D players. I'm trying to think if I've heard a popular pet, but I feel like I've seen mostly dogs, a good mix of dogs and cats.
There we go.
D&D
Perfect.
Players.
What's the biggest controversy facing D&D like world?
Oh, here's the thing. A popular controversy all the time is what edition are we playing? And currently the edition is 5th edition. What will happen is eventually there will be a new edition, 6th edition will come out, and everybody will probably fucking hate it at first. Everyone will be really mad
That's
about it.
like when they do an update on Twitter.
When you do any kind of update, everybody flips out. Absolutely.
Yep.
So you have the people who like the old ways better. And so right now, 5th edition is very popular because it's very streamlined and very easy for new players to pick up. That is what I love about 5th edition. But older editions have other things going for them. And so there are other games that use older kind of rule sets from D&D originally. Like Pathfinder is a game that uses, I would argue, a much more complex rule set that allows for maybe more things to be done, but otherwise has a lot of complexity that maybe isn't as appealing to a certain demographic of players.
That's maybe the most relatable. Don't hog it all, PFT. Let me get a couple of those things. That's the most relatable thing that you said is like basically everyone gets mad whenever there's a new game.
And it's not like, oh, I prefer this and you prefer that. It's you like the bad one, and you don't even know why your version is so much worse than mine.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's where people stop listening and start just arguing why the other side likes worse games or more limiting games, let's say, than
Can you tell me a little bit about the history of D&D, like how it was invented?
Absolutely. Actually, so my dissertation that I wrote to get my PhD was on.
Wait. You're a doctorate in D&D?
I have a doctorate
in.
You
literally live the dream.
Basically, my specialization was in taking D&D into the classroom. What can people learn from it? What happens when you bring tabletop games or ideologies from them, pedagogical styles from them, into the classroom? What does that look like? How can people benefit? And in order to study that, I absolutely had to look into the history of D&D. And what I found fascinating was D&D came out of wargaming, but how wargaming was people simulating battlefield situations and like recreating Civil War battles and stuff, but how wargaming emerged very much from people in the military trying to teach each other. And one of the first war games, Kriegspiel, was like written out as a set of rules that look like a game, but certainly aren't a game because we're doing very serious things here. Is what like the title boiled down to. And this
Kriegspiel.
denial...
Is that German?
That is German. So it's like war game. It was the original like simulation of the battlefield on a board. And it was simply Gary Gygax and the original creators of D&D sitting down and saying, what if instead of an army, we just have one person we control? What if I control one dude and you control another dude and my dude can cast spells but your dude has armor, and all of a sudden that's when it stopped being about armies and started being... But it was always about taking something like a battle or some idea and then using the game to teach in some way. And so I always argue it's educational first and foremost, and only later did we start making these into forms of entertainment.
Got it.
Kind of secondarily.
So when someone plays, do they need like a master with them to complete a game?
They do need a game master, and most game masters work with their friends for free. Most game masters are not paid, but very often it is understood that like the game master's doing a lot more work. They're kind of doing a lot more preparation, and so very often like free pizza, snacks, they are given maybe some benefits. But most people, unless you have a friend who is willing to step up and DM, or groups who kind of rotate who the game master is, if you don't have that, then a lot of people, unfortunately, are out of luck.
Well, we have it, so let's do it.
Absolutely.
So are you handing me the die? Does PFT get one as well?
Absolutely. You can each take one D20.
Okay. Here you go.
20-sided die, huh?
All right.
And this D20 is going to be used for pretty much everything we do in the game. Anytime you try to do something in the game, you're rolling this die. You're trying to get a high number. 20 is the best you can get. It means you are getting something spectacular. If you roll a 1, you done goofed. Something really bad is going to happen to you, and I'll probably describe it.
Okay.
But you'll be adding bonuses, and rather than doling out character sheets to you, I would be handing you sheets with a lot of numbers and a lot of like little notes about what your character can and can't do. I would just be letting you know, based on what character you choose, like what bonuses you would have to keep things simple. But picking your character is a big part of the game. So I'll say, as a way of introducing that, there are 4 main categories of characters in D&D. There are the fighty types, the ones who wear armor and use weapons. There are the ones who cast spells that do attacks and like elemental damage and stuff like that. There are the casters who support people by healing and doing other cool buffing magic. And then there are the sneaky types. The sneaky types are the ones who go around scouting and backstabbing people.
Got it. All right. What do you want to be, PF?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm the sneaky type, right?
Sneaky types, absolutely.
I'll be the fighter type.
Fighty type. I like it.
Do we need another player?
You can have another player
Hank,
if you
want.
want.
To roll
Generally,
over there?
Yeah.
You can roll. All right, Hank. So you be
You'll be a
the
caster?
spell. Wait, what was the second thing you said?
So we've got a fighty type, a sneaky type, and then the spellcasters. Either a healing support spellcaster or an attack magic.
He's an attack
Anything that has to do with
absolutely.
spelling is his
Cool.
specialty.
All right.
So
take it here. You need a die. What do you call it again?
I call it the
D20.
D20. The D20. It's a 20-sided die. And so in the game, they'll say things like the D6, that's the 6-sided die. The D8 is the 8-sided die. And mainly, we just use the D20 to try to do different stuff.
Okay.
And if you are a fighty type, I would let you know you have the choice between being a fighter, who is just specialized in combat, a paladin, who is like a holy warrior, or a monk, who is kind of like a martial artist, the punchy kind, a karate master. There's also a ranger who is kind of the bow master, the Aragorn type character, the Legolas, the archer, woodsman, as it were.
Okay.
And I know I'm actually the barbarian.
I'll be a barbarian.
Of course, the
All right,
raging
here we go.
barbarian.
Perfect.
So, good choice. Fantastic.
Perfect.
The barbarian's power is you rage and swing your axe. Very straightforward. And as the sneaky type, you get 2 choices. You could either be the rogue, which is the straightforward sneaky type, or you could be the bard, who is kind of the musician we were talking about. He's a jack of all trades, can do a little bit of magic, a little bit of sneaking, and a little bit of everything, kind of.
Huh.
I think you're
The bard sounds mighty tempting right now.
Absolutely.
Although you did kind of you steered me away from the bard earlier when you told me about that creep that.
but just don't be a creep.
I'm going to be a not creepy bard.
Yeah.
This one
20.
right here.
All right,
Bingo.
Hank's got it. So then Hank, Hank is a caster. What are his choices?
As a caster, you could be a wizard who learns their magic from a book. You could be a sorcerer who is
That's
born
definitely not him.
with their
He can't
magic.
read.
Yeah. So if you want to be a smarty pants, you got to be a wizard. If you want to be a sorcerer, sorcerers are born with their magical abilities. So they're
That's
more
him.
like X-Men mutants. They're just like, fire shooting out of my hands. What do I do? Or you could be a warlock. Warlocks make evil. Well, not always evil, people, but they make deals with entities that are much more powerful with them.
Well, he did make a bet against us. So
Absolutely.
So you're a warlock.
So a warlock would be somebody who makes a bargain in order to get their magic. And sometimes the person they made a bargain with is not that great a person. It could be a demon or an archfey, like the Queen of Air and Darkness or something like that. Yeah. Or it could even be a giant like Cthulhu monster from another dimension or something crazy.
All right. So Hank, you a warlock?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
Now,
does it matter that I'm holding a hammer? I feel like, does a bard carry a sledgehammer ever?
Bard can carry, generally no, they wouldn't have a sledgehammer, so if you want to trade swords, the barbarian would be wielding that big old thing.
I just want to make sure this is realistic.
This thing is awesome.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and say you're a barbarian with a two-handed hammer. That's a really great weapon for you to have. There you go. Boom, boom, boom. So if we are starting out a really quick little D&D adventure, like say the beginner box. The beginner box is a perfect little introduction to D&D because it gives a little bit of an adventure that we can at least start today, and it gives us a little idea of what a typical adventurer's day is like. But we are in the city right now of Neverwinter, and Neverwinter is a city along a region called the Sword Coast. It is along the coast, absolutely. And so it is kind of it's in a chilly region, but it is a warm city because of a nearby volcano, and that's why it's such a big, populous city. And we all have one thing in common in the city of Neverwinter. We are friends with a guy named Gundren Rockseeker. Now, Gundren Rockseeker is a dwarf. He's a dwarf who owns a shop in a not that far, 3 days away is a village called Phandalin, and he owns a shop there. And Gundren was wondering if we would be able to deliver a package to the town of Phandalin.
Do we know what's in the package?
He sounds like a drug addict. His name's Rockseeker?
Gundren Rockseeker, yes.
Okay.
You think he is part of a long dwarven lineage of the Rockseeker family, who are miners by profession. But this was a long time ago. Now they are merchants, apparently. But he tells you that he does need something delivered to Phandalin. He has told you what is in there is just supplies to help the town grow. Apparently there's a keg of beer, there's a lot of lumber, and there's a lot of mining picks and shovels, things that they can't build in town but need delivered to them from Neverwinter.
Music going nice.
Good stuff, yeah.
Yes.
And Gundren is inviting us to dinner because he's wondering if we have any questions for him about payment or anything like that. But he is letting us know at dinner. The thing is, I was hoping to take this delivery myself. It's just one wagon load, and I was planning on leaving tomorrow morning with it. But and he turns to a friend of his, a friend who's a human with a bow on his back, who's kind of like elbowing Gundren, kind of urgently. But you don't know what he's elbowing him about. But Gundren looks at his friend, the human, and he says, "We've got to actually leave tonight. Some business has come up, and we'll need to leave about 12 hours earlier.
I don't trust
ahead
this
of
guy.
schedule."
I'm just going to say right now, I don't trust this guy.
You know something's going on here, and he's not telling you everything. So if you want to persuade Gundren to reveal more information, somebody here would make a persuasion check, and it'll tell us right now. We've got a bard in this group, is that right?
Yes.
So the bard, you're going to have the best persuasion skill by far. You would have a +5 to your roll on that at first level. So if you give that a roll, you can try to convince Gundren. Is that what you would like to do, however? That's one way you could find out. Another way is somebody could roll an insight check to try to read his face and be like, what's he hiding from me?
Ooh, like a poker player.
Like
What
a
about
poker
what
player,
about like
exactly.
rolling to just put him in a headlock and be like, tell us what you're doing, dude.
You would be the best at that, barbarian, and you could try to either do that by actually headlocking him with an athletics check. You'd have a +5 on this. Or you could just make it look like you're going to do that to him with an intimidate check, and you'd have a +4 on that. However, you know that if you intimidate him and fail, probably he's going to be real mad at you.
Okay, but he's a dwarf,
kick
right?
his ass. He's
So
a dwarf.
hold
He's
on.
really
Little
small.
guy, probably
I
pretty
gotta
easy to put in a
second.
headlock.
Relatively easy.
Pause for a second. Are we all working together?
In theory, yes, but you don't have to be.
Got
if
it.
you
We
don't
will
want
work
to.
together. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So what do we want to do, guys?
What do you think?
Should I put this dwarf in a headlock?
I feel like you should put him in a headlock.
All right, I'm gonna put him in a headlock.
Absolutely. You're going to put him in a headlock. Now, are you trying to mainly just be intimidating and like fake
No,
this,
we want to know
or
what
are
the
you
hell's
straight
going
up-
on. Yeah,
Okay.
like, yo,
So
dude, just tell us.
now I'm going to ask you a question. Are you raging before you put Gundren in a headlock?
Yeah, I
Because
feel
if
like
you
should
rage, you'll get to roll 2 times
Yes.
and take the higher of the
Yes,
2 numbers.
then I am
It's only
raging. I
better
am
for
mad.
You
I'm
let out
mad.
a roar. You're angry. Gundren almost falls backward in his seat, and the human next to him like kicks his chair back and stands up like he's reaching for his
I don't
bow.
trust a
maybe.
human, by the way.
Absolutely.
Either. Okay.
He's armed.
Yep.
And so you can roll
All right.
once, and you're adding +5 to this.
15 + plus 5.
That's
So
pretty
you
good.
got a 20, and you have grabbed Gundren already. Just roll one more time to see if you did any better than that. You definitely grabbed him. And now I do get to
7.
roll against you, so I'm just going to roll real quick to make sure. Nope. Yeah, he got a 2, which is like a total of 4 for him. He is severely headlocked by you. Now he's shouting, let me go! Let me go! What do you want? What do you want for it? I was going to pay you. What's this about? What's going on? Now, what do you want to say to him?
I want to know what the hell's in the package and why is this human dude just telling you we got to leave tonight?
No, I've got a theory about the human dude, though. I feel like Gundren might have been... Like, he might be under duress from the human. Like,
well, okay, so just tell us what's going on,
he
man.
might be attacking the wrong guy.
He blurts out at this point, I told you true. It's just some ale, some mining picks. There's nothing hidden in the wagons. Now go ahead and roll your intimidate check, but now you earned advantage because of putting him in a headlock successfully. So you get to roll that 2 times now. All right.
4,
so
not
you got an
good.
8 so far, but let's see if you do any better with this one. Okay, with an 8, the human is looking at you stony-faced right now, like he's like, what do you think you're doing right now? But he seems to think that you're not actually going to do anything to Gundren, and he points at you without drawing his bow, and he says, if you release the dwarf, I'm sure we can talk things through.
Do we
but he
trust
hasn't
him?
said anything. Now, Gundren is blurting stuff out. He's saying, listen, we have to leave early because I got to meet my brothers. I found something that I need to show them, and it's quite urgent. And the human's going, hey, Gundren, you don't need to talk about this. This guy's gonna let you go in just a second, isn't he? And he's looking at you like you better let him go. But Gundren's saying, I wanted to bring something to my brothers. It's just something quickly I needed to show them. Just a little something. Nothing to do with you. No double crossing. Nothing like that. So it's up to you whether you believe Gundren or this other human or not.
Is there a possibility that we can use one of Hank's spells to like make them tell the truth?
Absolutely. I would say that if you are a warlock, Hank, one of the spells that you could have might be Charm Person. And Charm Person, if you cast it upon one of these characters, only one, I roll a saving throw. And if they fail that saving throw, they just remembered, oh wait, I'm best friends with you. I love this guy. But if they pass the saving throw, then they know that you tried to charm them with magic.
Let's try it.
Or
Like you should try to
they'll
charm
notice,
the human,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Charm him.
Let's try it.
Now, I'll say that if you charm the human, Gundren's in a headlock right now. He won't see you casting the spell, but the human will. It's just the human, if he's charmed, will be like, oh, that was probably a nice spell that you cast on me, right?
Right.
So I'm going to roll his saving throw, and we're hoping he does bad on this. Ooh.
Oh, no.
Was that 16?
I am sorry to say that the human with the bow on his back looks at you and says, nice try, dark magician. But I am an elf, or I am partially an elf, and I'm harder to charm than that.
Wait, did we learn something there, though? We didn't know he was
you
partially
are
elf.
noticing he does have slightly pointed ears.
I used to think I was an elf when I was a kid because my ears were pointing.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, so we're in a pickle now. So I got this dwarf guy in a headlock, and Hank just lost his spell. Now what the hell do we
Hank
do?
got made. So basically, they know Hank's a cop.
Right.
Your police.
They definitely know that he's not only a warlock, but is casting spells upon them, and the human's quite angry. He turns to Gundren and says, Gundren, I think we've picked the wrong people for this job. Wow. And he's like getting ready to like tell Gundren to make them leave, and Gundren's like, wait, please, let me go. He's not sharing more information right now, but what would people be doing? He's also not, to be fair, he's not attacking the warlock either, but the human with the bow is like saying, you guys should leave.
So there's some ulterior motive going on here, but it doesn't seem like they're hostile.
It doesn't seem. You can pick that much up. You think you could roll an insight check to be sure.
Oh,
of that
let's
if
do
you
it.
want.
Get an insight check on him. Yeah,
Okay, is that me?
Yeah.
I'm
You
the
could roll
insight
that.
check?
If you are the bard, you might have a +3 on this. Let's say.
Okay,
Okay.
all right,
Trading
insight
it.
check.
So what is he looking for? What kind of roll?
You're looking for as high a roll as you can get.
That is a
16. There you go.
With a 19, you feel very sure that this, whatever they're hiding, is not at your expense.
Okay.
You don't think that they're trying to put us out. They just don't want to share something that they're excited about, that they do want to share with the brothers, and is why they have
It's like they got a round of golf the next morning and they got a
Okay,
cool
so
tea
what do
time.
we do now? We let him go?
You could just let him go if
Should
you
we
want.
just let him go?
Seems like he does still want to tell you.
My arm's
you know,
starting to cramp.
Well, here's the thing: we've shown that we're physically dominant over them, so
Right.
they're not going to try any funny business on us.
He is letting you know that he's hired you for this because he was worried about brigands, and he's not sure if you were doing this in order to show him how strong you are, but you have succeeded at doing
that's
so.
what we're
And
doing.
he's
Everyone knows
still
that.
willing to pay us the regular fee of
All right.
10 gold pieces for us to go
I think
to
let's
the town
do
of
it. Yeah,
Phandalin.
yeah. Let's let them go, and
Absolutely.
we'll do we'll carry their package.
You can tell that they don't want to enjoy this dinner anymore with us. They just want us to like go back
Fine.
to our homes.
Are
and
they
pay.
paying?
I'm not here to
They
make
are
friends.
still paying.
Okay, they're
absolutely.
paying.
Yeah.
This is a business trip.
Yeah, they're paying half now, and then they're going to pay half when we arrive in Phandalin and meet them there. in
Okay.
theory. So we give them.
Let's
They
do
give us
it.
5 gold pieces.
Can we negotiate? Can we say
You
7 now and then 3
could,
later?
Absolutely. If you want to roll a persuasion check, you have
Yeah.
a +5 on this.
Yeah, let's do it. There's a it's a 5.
5. Yeah. What you wanted 7 now and 3 later?
Yeah.
That he agrees to that.
Shit, I
Okay.
should've
Sorry,
asked
what
for
was the
10.
total on that? It was.
It was 5 plus
5.
5.
Oh,
Plus
5
five.
plus 5, a 10 you think is just enough to get that deal. Yes.
Okay, good deal.
All right, so we got 7 now.
Absolutely. And if we are
What if we just said, "Fuck it, we're not gonna"? We got your 7. We're not gonna
can we
deliver.
just go?
it.
You
Yeah.
absolutely could go back to your homes and be like, we do not then follow up, and Gundren
Just
will
steal
have
the money
left
from
the
him?
night before and probably not for weeks find out that you stole his money and
I'm
didn't follow
I'm
through.
kind of feeling that.
That's karma, though.
Hank, what do you think?
Absolutely
That's
could.
some bad karma.
I don't think you should.
All right, we'll still deliver it.
Totally,
Okay,
totally.
Yeah, I don't want bad karma.
Absolutely. So in theory, you're on this wagon with a mule pulling it, and you're like, yeah, setting out on this 3-day journey to the town of Phandalin. We know that we're a little worried about some brigands along the way, but as we journey our first and then our second day down what is called the High Road from Neverwinter further to a city called Waterdeep, and then we break off into an area called the Tribor Trail, where it becomes a bit more rugged. We still haven't run into any threats.
Nice.
But up ahead,
Uh-oh.
we are noticing something on the 3rd day, just before we're reaching maybe our final day where we'll be at Phandalin. You can see that something is in the road up ahead. It looks like 2 lumps, and everyone can roll a perception check. You would have a
Okay.
+2 on
All right, I got a
this.
+2. I'm rolling it right now. I got a 6. Not great.
Oh, that's actually a 9.
that's
it
a
looks
9.
like. Yeah, that's a 9.
How does that come up
It's
often?
going to be the dot at the bottom. Always.
Okay,
if
got
there's
it.
a dot or
Okay.
a line, it's always at the bottom. of the
9,
number.
so
Yeah.
11.
So you got an 11. You can tell these are 2 horses, it looks like, lying in the road with apparently saddles on. Yes.
Shit, they're
Yeah.
dead?
They look.
Dead
You think they're dead, but you can't tell for sure. They look either unconscious or dead.
Is Johnny Cueto around anywhere?
That's a bum.
Hmm?
That's a bummer.
Johnny Cueto, he's killed 2 horses.
All right, so what do we do
No.
now with these 2 horses?
I mean, we can also roll other perception checks to see if anybody else picked up details you
Okay,
didn't.
all right.
So
Okay,
if you
all right,
want to
let's
roll
go.
your
You figured it
perception
out.
check.
You got a 4.
Oh,
got a
you did
4.
not know even.
You didn't-
You
nope.
see lumps. That's
Yeah.
it, unfortunately.
Bad eyesight.
I got a 19.
19.
There you go.
Whoa, hey!
You
Hank, are you lying?
are actually a warlock, and you would have a plus, let's say, 3 on this, and so your total would be at 22. With the 22, you can tell that not only do these horses have their saddles on their back, you can tell that one of them is actually not a horse, it's a pony, slightly smaller,
Mr.
and
I've always wanted a pony.
you can see that both the horse and the pony are riddled with arrows, it looks like. There are about
shit.
6 arrows spread across the 2 animals.
That pisses me off.
As an aside, I'm getting my rage up just to let you guys know.
You are raging.
Yep, I'm raging.
Yes. I would also like to point out that you can roll a check. This would be a knowledge check, so we're going to add like a +5 history bonus to this.
13.
13 with an.
Fuck yeah,
So you
Hank.
had a +5 for 18 total.
Fuck yes.
18 total is going to tell you that you know who made these arrows. You know that they are black and that they have feathered hafts, but that they are not very well made. They're quite crude. And you'd bet dollars to donuts that if you were to yank one of those arrows out of one of the horses, it would have a hooked end. These are goblin arrows. Goblins made these arrows.
So what do we do?
In fact, with an 18, you know that local to this area are the Cragmaw goblins. And as you notice that, but you think it's really as you hear the barbarian letting out a rage, all of a sudden arrows come flying out of the woods. There are 2 arrows. One of the arrows is going to be flying at our warlock first.
Can you have one of us die at some
So
point?
we may have that happen right now.
Whoa! All right, here we go.
And we just had 2. The reason I rolled twice is because these enemies are surprising us. We didn't know where they were located, except I'm sorry, a warlock would have actually noticed movement in the trees, so they actually have to use their original roll of a 10. And I'm going to ask, I'm going to tell you that unfortunately with your armor class, that is going to be a total of a hit against you. And you have just taken 5 points of damage. Fuck. You are bloodied now. You are halfway dead
I'm really
right
pissed
now, Warlock. You're not knocked out yet.
Let me at him.
But you are bloodied. And then the next shot that's
Let
being
me at him.
fired,
I'll fuck him up.
arrow
I'm going to fuck him up.
is
Let me
going
at
to be
him.
flying at the bard. Now
Let's
the bard,
go.
No.
Oh, no.
they hit you for another 5 points of damage. You are also bloody.
Let me at him. Let me at him.
And now, Barbarian, you will be up first. You rush. Now, you can see these goblins up in, they look like they're in trees right now. What do you want to do? Two goblins.
I want to light the whole forest on fire.
You could try to light a torch and run up and burn the tree, but you think it would take a long time for that fire to reach them. You could throw a javelin up at one of them, or you could try to climb the tree and knock one of them.
Let me throw the javelin at him.
Absolutely. You can rush up, and with a javelin throw, you can chuck a javelin up. You have a plus 5.
So what do I got to get here?
You don't know their armor class, but that's the number you're trying to beat. You think they probably don't have great armor class, but not bad either. They're pretty quick.
Come on, me and Hank are dying.
7
and you add a plus 5 to this. I'm sorry to say that with a 12, you throw a javelin, it thuds into the tree. As the goblin ducks behind the tree, then the goblin pokes its head out and goes, like Nelson style, and points at you.
I'm legit mad
Can
now.
you try to chop the tree down?
I'm mad in real life.
On your next turn, you can rush up to the tree and try to chop it. You've rushed close to the tree and thrown a javelin, and you've raged, so that's your whole turn. The bard would be up now. Bard, what would you like to do?
All right,
Let's light these fuckers on fire.
So help me out here. What am I good at? I can sing. I can sing them. Can I sing the brown
sing.
note and make them poop themselves?
So I'm really glad you asked that. You do have one ability called Vicious Mockery, where you insult them so bad that they take psychic damage.
Okay.
Yes.
Now they have
mental
to,
alpha them.
They have to make a saving throw against this.
Okay.
And you could. I always ask for people to describe how are they taking damage? Is it like psychic actually, or do they walk into a tree because they feel bad about themselves? Do they hit themselves, or do they shit their pants? And so you do
I'm
the
gonna compare
brown
him
noise.
to Hitler so bad that their brains are going to explode.
No, and he's going to make a saving throw against that. And he failed his saving
Yes.
throw.
Yeah, that's right.
You are going to get to deal 1d4 damage to this goblin.
Jeez, that's a die?
That's a die, so you're going to
D4,
take
so I
whatever
take
number
one
is
roll of this?
at the top.
Okay.
Because it's always the same number at the top. So
That
you got
would be
a
a 2. Yeah.
at the top there.
No.
And with 2 points of damage, you know this goblin is not quite bloodied yet, but he is screaming and saying, "How could you say that? How could you say that?"
Yeah.
And
It's a
now
pretty good
you know
burn, yeah.
It's
Can
a
I get
really
back
good
at him?
burn.
Can I finish him off?
Now, on your next turn, you can rush up to him, and you know if when he shoots at us, he'll have disadvantage, so he's very likely to miss us. But you don't have technically any advantage attacking him. But you will probably take him out now that he's taken 2 points of damage. And our warlock would be up now. Warlock, what would you like to do?
Fuck them up. I need to help the team.
So you could fire an Eldritch Blast. Is a very powerful cantrip that you can fire at people. So you can roll the d20 on that.
Does he have any pets?
Plus 5.
Does he have like a
Not yet.
band of animals?
At 3rd level, he gets a little minion who follows him around. If he
I'd
wants
say 2.
2? Oh, unfortunately, you launch an Eldritch Blast at this goblin.
Hey.
It hits the tree, and a bunch of leaves fall down on you, but luckily nothing worse than that, because you didn't get a 1.
Okay.
Luckily. Now, a 2, Bardic Inspiration wouldn't help with that. But something that I will tell you now is you can give Bardic Inspiration to somebody, Bard, and that means that they can add this dice to any one of their d20 rolls to try to get above and beyond what they need.
I want to set my man
Who do
up.
you
I
wanna
want
give
to
it
set,
to?
I want to
Give it to
set
the
up the
barbarian.
barbarian.
So does
here.
he roll right now?
Absolutely. Well,
He roll or I roll?
The person going next would unfortunately be the goblins now because
Oh, no,
we've all
you're the
got
goblin. I
one
don't
wanna
chance
inspire
to go.
them.
And they're going to be firing once at the barbarian. And that is going to be a miss against the barbarian,
Yes.
actually.
There you go.
And then a shot against the bard.
Oh, no.
And I'm sorry,
You got
Bard,
fucked up.
but
You got
it's
fucked
more
up.
damage coming against you.
No.
Oh, no.
And I'm sorry to say you took 7 points of damage, Bard, and are now knocked out. Your last words were to the barbarian shouting, what did you shout to encourage him?
I was trying to give him inspiration. I was saying, fuck
I'm
him
gonna
up,
say you
fam.
gave him inspiration. So as you shout, fuck him up.
Fuck him up, fam.
up.
All of a sudden, the arrow lands right in your chest, knocking you out right
Damn,
now. now, unfortunately. And Barbarian, you would be up now.
I got to
What would
finish
you like
these
to do?
losers off. So what do I got to do?
So you could either try to climb the tree now and hit one of them with an axe, or hammer, which deals a lot of damage, or you could throw a javelin, probably at the injured one to finish.
All right,
him
we've
off.
already done the javelin. Let's go. Let's climb this tree and fight him like a man.
Now you have two options here. You can either swing your axe, and that's one dice roll, or if you try to use athletics to grab him and throw him out of the tree, you would actually have advantage on
Okay,
this.
let's do that.
Let's do that.
All right, so I roll both?
You can roll both and take the higher number. And he needs to roll against
17,
you on that.
baby.
Ooh, 17. So far, you're succeeding. Just roll one more time and see if you get a crit.
Whoop. What happens with that if you roll off?
If it falls off the table, it usually never counts.
Okay. 13.
So we know that with the 22 you got total,
Yep.
you pick this guy up, you throw him out of the tree, and you get to roll this damage against him. Was this
Okay.
against the injured or uninjured goblin?
I'm going to go against the uninjured.
Uninjured
try
goblin.
to injure that guy.
I'm giving you 2d6 damage as you chuck him out. Oh no, he spikes into the ground, but it's only 3. Oh, but you get to add your strength to this. So actually, you dealt enough damage just barely to kill this goblin. When we add your strength bonus to that, boom, you spike him literally on the ground, football style, whoa, from above, and he bounces once, twice, 3 times on his head, and head explodes. Nicely done.
Thank you.
And now, Bard, since you are knocked out and no one's there to help you just yet, I need you to roll a d20, and if you get a 10 or higher, you are getting closer to living, but if you roll a 9 or less, you are getting closer to dying.
Oh, shit, this is a huge roll. Huge roll!
16,
now that's
baby.
good. You have gotten 1 out of the 3 successes that you need in order to stabilize.
It's like when you're in jail in Monopoly.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
cool.
You need 3 rolls to get out, but if you fail 3 rolls before you get out, then you are dead, unfortunately.
Okay.
There you go. So that will then bring us to the Warlock.
Wait, reset real quick. So PFT is in trouble. He's down. Hank has had a little damage. I killed one of the goblins, but one of them is injured.
One of them is injured with 2 points of damage.
Is there 2 of them?
Yes.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure there weren't more that I was forgetting about.
Now, is there a way that we can defeat the goblins using facts and logic and reason?
You could talk to the goblins. Absolutely.
No, fuck
You
that.
could try to talk
I
to
wanna
them.
talk to these guys.
I kind of want to know what happened to these horses.
Oh,
is there like is there a way to go all in? Like I just put it all on the table and go for it?
In theory, you could use one of your more powerful spells. You would have used Charm Person on a previous day. So if you want to use a powerful either attack spell, or you could try charming one of these goblins again with your charm spell if you want.
That's what I would do.
If you charm one of them, he'll get 2 rolls because you're in combat with him right now. But if he fails, he'll stop fighting us.
All right, I'm gonna do that.
You're gonna do Charm Person.
So
I think this guy's worth more alive to us than he is dead.
So you don't actually have to roll anything. I'm going to roll 2 times to try to resist your spell. You know what? This is a dumb goblin. I'm only rolling once. He saw his friend get killed, and so he's willing to negotiate. I'm just going to roll once. And he got a total of a 1.
Let's fucking
and
yes.
He pops his head out and says, wait, you friend to goblins? I think I see you before. I think I see you.
Yes.
You friend.
Wait, hold on, Hank. You seen them?
Yeah, Hank.
Yo, you're suspect now.
No. It's,
You can tell that our warlock is winking at us, but the goblin's
I don't
not
trust
noticing.
Hank. Just put that on the tickler file.
That's actually good role playing for the barbarian.
Yeah.
Like he's not.
Yeah, like yo.
yeah,
it's
you're
like
not smart enough to pick up.
Yeah, it's Johnny Ola and Godfather. Like, how do you know him? Okay, got it.
And so this goblin is still in the tree, but is talking to you right now. And if you roll a persuasion check, and you actually have a +5 on this as a warlock, you're quite persuasive because you make deals with creatures all the time. You get to roll 2 times and take the higher of the 2 numbers.
3. 18.
There you go.
18 plus 5 is a 23. Right now, this goblin is either going to do 4 things for you or answer 4 questions. He'll do 4 little minor favors for you or 4 questions.
I'm a man of action.
You have talked to the Cragmores before. You have met my boss, and you are a friend of my Cragmore tribe. I know you. Yes.
Just kid stuff?
What are you gonna do?
I mean, should I do the favors?
It's your call. Hank. I personally would say actions. Big Cat says
you can do a mix of both. Sorry
two
for
and
not
two.
clarifying
Yeah.
that. A mix of
two.
different ones. Yeah. So and a question could lead you to more ideas on what to do. So you've got 4 things you're getting out of this guy now. What do you want?
Where are the rest of your goblins?
He points to the north, and he says, we in cave that way. You've been to cave before, I think. You think he has you mixed up with somebody else, actually. So you've learned that information for free. Apparently his tribe is working with warlocks or a warlock, and he points, he's like, you've been to our cave before, Cragmaw Hideout. It's where me live, where Clark live. Has river flowing out of it, bushes in front,
You seem to know a lot about you, Hank.
You got to follow Goblin Trail this way. And he points to a part of the road that you didn't notice that does seem to have a teeny tiny little footpath going to the north.
Will we have trouble if we take Goblin Road?
Well, you need a goblin to guide you so you don't fall into the two traps.
He's just saying that so we don't kill him.
I don't like this goblin. What about if we just don't? What do you say? Fuck
Why
these
shouldn't we
goblins?
kill you?
He also told you there were two traps there, so if we want to kill this guy, at least then we do know two traps is
true.
what he's mentioned. So he says goblins will take you around the two traps, but yeah, you have to watch out for the two traps. You know that.
I'd like him to apologize for killing the horses.
You could make one of your questions ask him to apologize because he's very confused.
Why shouldn't we kill you?
Why shouldn't we kill you? He said, well, no, kill me, you friend of Cragmaw's. Bleeko, a good goblin. You should be friends with Bleeko. I am loyal Cragmaw.
Okay.
You friends with us. Don't kill me, please. I didn't do anything wrong.
Question.
Sorry for shooting at you, but it was a mistake.
Question. Can I kill the goblin and Hank? Because I don't trust Hank now either.
Yes, as soon as he's done with his last question, it's your turn.
Oh,
and so
great.
you can
You're
do
fucked,
whatever
dude.
you want.
You're fucked.
I want to point out
Don't
the
you agree,
goblin is
PFT? We gotta get
in
rid of
the
this.
I don't know, I'm
tree
knocked
right
out.
now, but you still have two things you can get out of him. So you could ask him to come out of the tree as one of the questions, and then you still have one left.
Seems like it's an inside job. Like the fact that they almost knew we were coming. Hank got like a little bit injured, but not much.
Yep.
Meanwhile, I'm over here bleeding from my neck.
All right, so the first thing is come out of the tree. The
He
second
climbs
thing,
out of the tree and runs up to you.
murder my two compadres.
Okay, he will absolutely make an attack against one of them. He says, which one, quick?
The barbarian.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you better try to take me out first.
He pulls out his scimitar to stab. Absolutely.
Fuck yes.
So I'll let you roll his attack now because he's under your control.
Liam, make
he
sure
has
you
a
watch
+4 on this attack.
11.
11 plus 4 is 15, and that is just enough to hit the armor class of the barbarian. Please go ahead and, if you want to roll a d6, this d6 plus 2 is the damage. So it's that, whatever that is, plus 2.
2.
2 plus 2, so 4 damage. But as a barbarian who is raging, you take half damage from weapon attacks. So you only take 2 points of damage.
Okay.
It's the first 2 points of damage you've taken, so you're not even bloody at this point. And he goes,
That's the best you can do?
And then he looks at you and goes, what now?
Yeah. Okay.
He's
Is it my
going
turn?
to try
Oh.
to hide in a nearby bush as his bonus action real quick. And he is in. Now, to be fair, he's hidden in there, but you could easily run up to this goblin to attack him or attack him.
Don't even want the goblin. I want Hank. I want to
Absolutely.
kill
You can
Hank.
go after him
Yeah.
now, totally.
Why don't you
Now,
try
I
to
wanna
submit
point
the
out-
goblin
No,
and make
I don't
him
want-
be Hank's pet?
I don't care about the goblin. I want to kill Hank. He just tried to kill me.
Absolutely. So you can roll. You can rush up to Hank, swing your great axe, I assume.
What do
Or
I need?
Your
Yeah,
your
what do I
maul,
need?
I
What do
should
I
say.
need to roll here?
You
Great axe.
don't know his armor class yet, but you know it's weaker than yours, which is like 15 or 14.
Okay. Wait, hold on a second. So just a reset again. Hank is sitting there. He's already a little injured.
He's, I believe a little. I know the bard got injured, and you did get a little
Hank
injured.
did.
You
Yeah,
had
he's
5
real-
points of damage.
he's
He's
really
bloodied.
injured?
I'm knocked out.
He's bloodied, so one more attack from you will definitely take him down.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually just want to kill off PFT because he's already almost
lying
dead.
dead on
I
the
was
ground.
actually going to
do
point
that,
out he's
yeah.
bleeding out.
Yeah,
so
let's
you
just
could
finish
save
him off.
But if
No,
you're
let's
going to
finish
finish
him
him
off.
off,
I don't like
absolutely.
this. I don't like this at all.
Hank, truce. Let's just kill PFT.
This is bullshit. No.
No, what's funny is
Dude,
you
he
still
just tried to kill you. You gonna trust him?
Yeah, because you're already almost dead. So
I've done nothing
Since
to
he's on the
deserve
ground,
this.
you get to roll 2 times
Nice.
against him, and if you hit him, it counts as 2 bad dice rolls.
Can I sing a protective song?
All right, so
It
what do
is
I do?
unfortunately not unconscious.
What
You
do I
can't.
do?
You roll this
Roll-
2
all right.
times to make sure you hit him. So
5.
far,
That's
you're
all you got,
actually
pussy?
hitting his armor on the ground
Okay.
instead of him. Okay, yeah, you hit him. And
See,
now
Dink. Suck it.
you currently have 1 out of 3 successes, but you have 2 out of 3 failures on your turn. And if you could now roll your last, potentially, D20.
So what happens?
So
If
I have
he
to
gets
get above a
9
9.
or less now, he's dead.
Okay.
He's officially dead.
Here we go.
And
That's a
you
12.
now have
Another
2
resounding
successes
success.
and 2 failures, but your next dice roll will still determine if you live or
Right.
die.
All right, so what does the guy
long-term.
get here?
Okay. I mean, is anyone on their next turn going to be helping him at all?
No.
I just want to
No,
check. If
we're
we
not.
know that,
Yeah, fuck
then
you,
roll
Hank.
your last one. Roll the
Are
last
you
one.
Hank's gonna come at me too?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. You're almost dead.
You can't trust him.
You're either going
The
to
goblin knew everything
stabilize
about him.
or
Truth.
die.
The
now.
goblin knew every single
I
thing
could
about
have
Hank's
attacked
personal
Hank,
life.
but I decided not to.
All right, come on. There we go. 13.
Okay, you are going to
Success.
be stabilizing,
Good.
actually, and lying unconscious, but your blood has stopped flowing out
Okay.
of your body at the very last
Okay.
minute, considering
Okay.
you got another wound. And then it would be the Warlock's
Finish
turn.
him off, Hank.
You could shoot at him on the ground. Is
I want
that
to go back at Big Cat. He's
He's
injured,
you
right?
fucker.
Oh, yes.
You little
You're shooting
fucker.
Plot twist.
Now go ahead and roll for your goblin first. Your goblin gets 2d20 rolls.
Come on, Hank.
Because he's hidden.
Come on, Hank.
10,
10.
Okay.
So far, so good. Roll one more time, though, just to see if you crit.
16.
There we
16,
go.
That's definitely a hit, and you can roll that d6 plus 2.
1.
1 plus 2.
That sucks.
Gets halved down from 3 to 1 damage against you.
Suck
You have a
it.
total of 3
I'm
damage.
fine, dude.
You're still not
I'm
bloodied.
fine.
And then do you
Ha.
want to launch an Eldritch Blast against him?
Yeah.
Wait, you
Him?
can still
Yes,
do
like-
that?
So you can,
load-
because his
load up the
goblin
chopper.
has attacked now.
Whatever
you,
I can do.
Yeah.
All right.
Empty the armory.
3.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not a hit. Then roll to see if your goblin successfully hides.
For this,
Because if it does, it gets advantage on its next attack roll.
4.
Or he's not hidden anymore. He's trying to hide behind a tree, but doesn't.
All right.
What do you
So,
want to do? You
all
can
right,
attack
so
either
I
one
got
of
a
them.
problem here because I already fucked with PFT and he's almost dead. But so I don't. I probably. What do I have to roll to kill PFT and what do I have to roll to kill Hank?
If you hit him one more time, he is dead for good because you dealt 2 extra failures.
But what does one
And
hit
then
mean?
what-
Like,
Yeah,
And then
you
what
just
about-
need to you just need to get a one shot at him with advantage that hits his armor.
Okay,
class.
then what about him?
If you hit him, you will probably knock him out with a single attack.
If I do not go at you, will you promise to kill out Hank?
yeah. Oh, yeah, let's stomp Hank.
All right, so I'm
Yes.
not going to go at you, but so if
But
I
he's
go,
still unconscious right now.
so
But
what,
all I-
what does that mean when he rolls?
He
next?
just keeps lying, and now when he rolls on the ground, you have stabilized. You don't worry about any failures anymore on your rolls. It's only people injuring you that can kill you. But if you get a 20, you wake up.
Okay, all
and
right. So
start
you
fighting
got
again.
to roll a 20. We got to kill Hank. All right,
Okay,
so I'm
yeah.
going to go with Hank. So what do I got to roll?
So you got to roll with a +5, and I'll just tell you it's a 13 you're trying to get against him.
13, and he's dead.
And he's dead.
Kill him.
Hank, are you even paying attention? Ready?
him.
10.
And with
10.
a +5,
Fuck.
+5,
Oh,
yes,
so
yeah, he's
+5.
dead.
15
Hank's
is a
dead.
hit.
Yes.
And I mean, we can just roll
Suck
it,
it.
but it's definitely going to be enough because you had +5.
That's what you
to
get
this.
for hanging out with
so I roll
You
goblins.
both?
can roll both of them with a +5. It's definitely going to knock him out.
Oh!
And it's, I just want to check if it's enough damage
7
to do.
to 2.
So you had +5 to this, 12 on top of what he already had.
Yep.
That would probably actually be an insta-kill
Yes!
hit where Hank dies
You
instantaneously.
messed with the wrong barbarian,
The
bitch.
goblin runs for it now that the charm spell is over.
Uh-huh.
And that would be an overkill
Okay,
shot.
he's
and
dead.
then you get to roll
Does
to
this
see if
happen
you
often
wake
where
up.
everyone
Nah,
just turns on each other? Okay.
You know what? I do run a kids game, so the answer is actually 100% definitely. This happens all the
so
time.
fast for us to turn on each other.
Dude, the elves
I
gotta
love
be
the
pissed off
idea
at us.
of like a mystery, but then it ends with the barbarian just standing over the
Yeah,
party's
right, like,
bodies.
fuck, I don't trust
won
none of yous.
the mystery.
Yeah, where's the dwarf at in all this?
The dwarf? That's a really good
Oh,
question.
good, yeah.
So
Forgot about that fucker.
I mean, that goblin is running. The dwarf had left a day early, keep in mind.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he should be at the town of Phandalin
But these are
already.
probably his horses with the guy with the bow.
Yeah,
Are they okay? I wonder.
Well, so what are you rolling
This
for right
goblin is running away right now. Now, your roll is just, if you get a 20, you wake up and can do something. Otherwise, you continue lying on the ground and the barbarian gets to do something.
now? Okay.
It's a
7.
And now I will also say, take one more roll. I am awarding you something called DM's Inspiration.
Okay, it's
Yeah,
5.
I wanted to see
Yeah.
if you would wake up. But okay,
All right.
Barbarian,
Yeah.
you've got one dead warlock
Yeah, I'm gonna
and
kill
one
him
bleeding
too.
out.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as you hit with a roll on advantage,
gotta do?
You need to get against him 15, but
So I get
got-
2 rolls?
You get
and
2
I have
rolls
+5?
and +5 on each of them.
So you're gonna kill me.
You're probably gonna
13.
Yeah, you're doing it.
Suck it. So I won.
So you just murdered both of your party
You killed
members.
all your friends.
The goblin has run into the woods, and then you can hear the goblin and tree going, what the? What's going on? What?
I want to kill that
and
goblin
he's very
too.
confused.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that if you're looking up at this goblin, the goblin panics, and he is going to be shooting back at you. He has hit you with that shot.
Okay. Kills you.
He's just dealt 8 points of damage to you, which becomes 4. So now you've got a total of 7 damage, and you are bloodied. Are you going to run after that goblin?
Yeah, I want to kill him.
The goblin goes, I surrender, I surrender. Are you still swinging at him?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you can swing
No,
once.
well, can I do the thing where it's like, okay, cool, you surrender, and then I hit him after he surrenders?
Oh, like you tell him, okay, I accept your surrender.
Yeah, right.
And then you catch him by surprise.
Right.
Okay, roll 2 times, then I'll allow it.
9.
9. It was meant to be, but with a 9 plus 4, plus 5, you are. This guy has lowered his shield. You are hitting him, and you get to deal
Smashing him.
all of this damage against
Okay.
him. It's almost definitely enough. You have
Yep.
slain this goblin.
I won.
And can see
beat
the
everyone.
trail going off into the north.
Yes.
No, see, now
But
you
there's
don't
no
know what else is going on.
party
You killed
anymore.
all your witnesses.
Well, we should probably we do have to stop at some point. I feel like this is a good spot because I've just killed everyone and beat. Would you say that I'm the best Dungeons and Dragons guy you've ever seen?
I would say that is definitely a matter of interpretation. I think if your goal was to murder the other party members and to show that you are stronger and can beat them in a fight, then you sure as hell have just proven that quite
All
adequately.
right, so I have a couple of follow-up questions. This was a ton of fun. You can turn
yeah,
off the
it was a
music
great
now.
time, Big Cat.
Absolutely.
So are you like coming up with all this stuff?
That
off the top of your
adventure
head?
is actually something that you can buy in the D&D beginner box. The adventure is called The Lost Mines of Phandelver, and in theory, the meeting with Gundren Rockseeker is something that I make up. They tell you, like, you just had a dinner with Gundren Rockseeker, but very often the meeting turns into something funny, and that's why I often do run the meeting, and that went spectacularly this time.
Yes.
No one has ever put Gundren in a headlock in any of my games. No one has. People have mistrusted him, but never to that degree, and I think that made that highly entertaining, certainly for me. And I hope you guys enjoyed it because that dinner was very different than any time I've ever run that dinner before.
So it's basically like a continual choose your own adventure.
Yes, exactly. That is probably one of the better descriptions of it. It's like a video game. You get to make choices, and the game just responds to your choices. But unlike a video game, there's very little that's off limits. It's limited only by our imagination. And even a choose your own adventure will let you choose between maybe 2 or 3 choices. Here, it's literally whatever you want. And I try to always say yes to something that sounds cool, but generally there are limitations on like some things that you're suggesting are things you'll get later on at higher levels. But generally, it's my job to say, okay, how can I take the idea that you have and turn it into something that is going to make the game more fun for everybody?
Right.
I've noticed that we didn't have names. Do the characters typically give themselves names?
I actually only thought of that about 5 minutes in, and we were having so much fun already. I was afraid it would slow the momentum down. But yes, naming your character is generally very important. I knew if we had an hour or less to play, it probably wouldn't come up. But in general, naming our characters is something that happens.
It's actually probably for the best that Hank and I didn't name ourselves because we died, and then we'd
Absolutely.
miss
Yeah,
ourselves.
we
more.
don't warn you.
Absolutely,
It's like
for
naming
sure.
your like chickens Thanksgiving and Christmas if you know you're going to kill them and eat them.
Absolutely. And part of the game I say is like there's the strategy that's all just math and numbers and but then a huge part of the game is the emotional element of, well, I'm going to make this decision not because it's the right call, but because I don't want to lose this character. I would care if something happened to this character.
Yeah.
And so that personal investment, if we played a second session, I'd argue it would be inevitable that we would kind of be like, well, I realize it would be fun to kill my character, but no, I want my character to live. And it's hard to, I argue inevitably, like with a lot of the kids, I'm almost tricking them where it's like, oh, it's just a game. Don't worry about it. It's just a game. Don't get too worked up over it. But the game is there to trick you into getting worked up over it. After enough sessions, you will be like invested in this. It's an engine of investment.
So, all right. So my last question is, like you said, it goes on forever. When you finish a session, how do you remember it? Do you write everything down?
I generally do have to take some pretty extensive notes. I have some players who actually take really good notes, and then I can be like referring to their, like I have one guy who does a whole blog series detailing everything we've done, and he's taking notes the whole time I'm talking. So if I ever need to be like, did the dragon say this or did they say this? I can actually check his notes and it will remind me.
That's pretty sick.
I try to take extensive notes, but very often it's me either remembering on my own or being reminded by a player, actually, no, wait, this happened. And I like to think that it's one of the things I'm better at is re-immersing myself into that world.
Yeah.
And I spend I think I spend as much time in these imaginary worlds as I do in the real world, just remembering, like, what did happen here? That's part of my job, is to keep these stories roughly consistent. Okay. And now I've run this adventure so many times, it does start to bleed a little bit together. I've run Gundren Rockseeker in many, many stories now. I sometimes lose track of what he has said to different groups, but sometimes people do such different things. I'll, for example, never forget that this was the session where he ended up in a headlock. Quite unique in that respect.
That's awesome. Okay, so just last question. Can you tell people where to find you if they want to
absolutely
get you set up with the game?
My name is Timm with 2 M's Woods. So if you
how'd that
just
happen?
Google me. I mean, I am born Timothy Woods with 1 M, and when I was like in 8th grade, I was like, I'm like going to do a cross between Tim and Timmy, and I thought it was real cute. And then I had people tell me I wasn't allowed to do that, and I'm like, I don't think that's how names work, actually. And that was
fuck yes.
They made you want to do it more when they said no.
It definitely made me want to do it more, and then it also, I continued doing it because I just like the idea that people have this control over it, and the whole idea of like, oh, you legally change your name being something different. I'm like, you can call yourself whatever you want. Right. Nicknames are a thing, and I don't know. So I'm Timm with 2 M's Woods is how you can find me uniquely, I guess. And if you Google that, I will be the first thing that comes up. But you can find my Instagram at timmwith2ms.woods. I'm on Twitter under the same name, and I am on pretty much my social media is the best way to reach out to me.
Awesome.
Emailing me, it's available on all my social media, and that's probably the easiest way to book a game with me or some kind of event.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Hopefully, we'll have you back on because I want to kill
play
his
a full
bitch
game.
ass.
Absolutely. I want to play a full game.
We
sometime.
can always continue the story, and there are
Yes.
so many different RPGs out there. We can try out whatever ones we want. Yeah,
Awesome.
We should just do this on occasion, see who can kill everybody else the fastest every
Yeah,
time.
I
that's
gotta
just
say,
become-
it was a perfect
And that was
way to
very
get to a
obvious we were
great
going to turn on
epic
each
wrap
other.
up.
Yes.
As I was starting to like think of like, should I suggest good cliffhanger endings? You were like,
Nope.
could I murder everyone?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
that's a hell of a good cliffhanger right there.
So now you're just out in the open, going to starve to death. Congrats.
Yeah, that's
Just play
fine.
yourself.
No, I'll eat your bodies.
There's nobody to sing you songs and make you happy. Hope you're happy with that, big cat.
All right,
Sounds
Tim.
miserable to me.
This has been awesome, man.
This has been such
We've
a pleasure.
never really
for
done
sure.
anything like
Yeah.
this, and
Yeah.
I really had a
Great.
fun time.
It's so cool running this for people who are interested in other kinds of games, but there's so much overlap at the same time.
Yes.
So,
For sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much,
Excellent.
Tim.
Thank you.